I've been rewatching Scandal, and one of the things that is a recurring moment for Olivia is her giving this advice that tends to be a perspective that people weren't considering around her. They are like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Basically, like that's typically their reaction or how I'm interpreting their reaction. And it always seemed to be something that gets around the problem or flips the situation in their favor somehow. And that got me to thinking of how she usually asks her clients, what do you want? And I realized that's a different question than how do we solve this problem? Two different questions. And very often in life, we tend to focus on the problem. But when you think about what you actually want and not just what you want in reference to the problem that you perceive, then you start to notice there are multiple ways to get what you actually want. For example, and this is super general and not meant to be like comparative to what they go through on the show, but just for the sake of the example of what you want versus what the problem might be. All right, let's say you want to go overseas somewhere. You want to go to a particular, place that you've always wanted to visit, but you don't have the money for the plane ticket or for your stay there. So money is the issue. And it's not that you can't solve the problem, but just for the sake of this example, when you ask yourself what you actually want, the response is most likely going to be, I want to be at that place. Not necessarily, I want the money for the plane ticket and the hotel and everything so I can be at the place. So you could spend time trying to figure out, how do I get the money? Do I work extra hours? Do I get a second job? Do I ask for the money? Do I try to fundraise or something, And you could get it. That's fine. You can get it. But I find it interesting that if you focus on the solution to what you actually want, and just be open to that, then it seems like the amount of options tends to be bigger or like more expansive or more. That's the word I'm looking for. You could learn that there's a cultural program or an arts program that scholarships people to come to that place and be involved in different ways or learn about different things. You could learn about an internship or something along those lines. You could learn about different grants and stuff that are options. You could just have a random conversation with somebody that you know. Turns out they want to go too, and then they're down to actually help pay for your plane ticket or just pay it all. You never know. And I feel like being open to there being more than one way to get there opens you up to receiving things, money, income, resources that you weren't expecting, coming in ways that you weren't expecting, frequent flyer miles that you didn't even know you had or something like that, or points on a card you didn't know you had that can go towards that plane ticket. It's really just the awareness. Like when you're aware of many possibilities, to get to the place because that is the thing you actually want, then you become aware of the different ways that that can happen. But when you're focused on the problem of what can't happen or what the issue is, we tend to just be limited in our awareness to that problem, and it's hard to see around it. So shout out to Olivia, because I appreciate how the show and the writing sometimes helps you expand your mind or just get you to think a bit. So